guys, it's Comic Uno. Today I'm doing a review for Arrow Season 1, and I don't know what episode number it is, but in the title there will be an episode number for it. And it's called Burned, and this is the return episode from the winter hiatus, which was only a month, so it wasn't that long. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't totally excited for this episode, because I found out Firefly was the villain, and honestly, I don't really care about Firefly. First of all, he's a Batman villain. Second of all, he's not a big Batman villain. It's like C-lister. So, like, I didn't really care about his character, and, yeah, so I didn't know what to expect with this episode. And, the last episode, when we went into winter hiatus, you probably did see my review, and if you didn't, go check it out. I mentioned that it wasn't a shocker episode, at least for me, and if you're a comic book fan, it really wasn't a shocker episode. And, with this episode, it felt really generic, but let me talk about what happened in this episode. We get to see, Oliver, he's scared to become a Green Arrow again, or Arrow, the vigilante, because he's scared that he will die, and then everyone around him will have to go through that hurt again of him dying. He finally realized by bringing people in that he realizes how much they had to go through when he did die, quote unquote, on the island. So this whole episode, he's very hesitant to put on the Arrow suit and to become the vigilante again. And Dig's like, why are you doing this? You shouldn't do this to yourself. You should save the people that you need to save. And destroy the people that you need to destroy. That way, Starling City is the best that it can be. But we also have the secondary story that's going on, which is the Firefly story, where we get to see Firefly's the villain, and he killed Joanna's brother, who is Laurel's friend, who is always, you know, talking to her in the lawyer office. So, we get to see that, and we get to see he's a big villain. We learn a little bit about his backstory, and he wants to kill the head firefighter. So we get to see that, and he wants revenge, and Oliver sees a little bit of him because this guy doesn't really care if he's gonna die or not. And Oliver's like, let me save you, you know, technically, I'm going through the same thing you are, but the guy kills himself in the end. That's really not much of a spoiler, because there's nothing really spoiled with this episode. We also get to see Oliver's mom. She's depressed because Walter has been missing, which, to tell you the truth, I totally forgot. With the month, you know, gone, totally forgot that Walter got kidnapped. I think more we were concentrating on the Dark Archer last episode. But, we do get to see that, and then she's a little depressed, but Thea's like, you have to act like my mother, you're just depressed, and I'm acting more like your mother than you're acting like my mother. So she ends up in the end of the episode saying, Thea, you know, she told me to grow up, I guess, yeah, you know, stop moping. And, she's now the head of Queen Industries while Walter is gone. So that's what happens in this episode. Really not, you know, a return episode should have some shockers, I think. And, it should continue from a big shocker from last season, and, last episode from, you know, before winter, before 2013. And, I still think the writing for this show is really poor. And I was actually watching this with my dad and my whole family. And, I was talking during commercial, it's like, I feel like everything they do is repeated, and every episode is just a recycle with a new villain, and not even an interesting villain. I think there's here and there are interesting villains. Like, I think the Hunters episodes were something different, and that's why I enjoyed those, and Jeff Johns wrote it, so it was more interesting. And then, what is it called? The gang, whatever, I can't even remember, the gang, you know the ones, the gang, they had the family. I thought that was a little interesting, but most of these villains, haven't been so interesting, and it's just been very generic. Same thing, oh, we got a club, I really don't own a club. It's like they keep repeating everything, the same things, and the story really hasn't developed. The big plot hasn't developed. It's these little one-shot little stories, and everything's, you know, okay in the end, and then they say the same things, and I'm getting a little tired of it. Like, I really love the show. I do like the premise of the show. I do like the characters of the show. If I didn't, I would stop watching. I'm far from stop watching. You know, I still like the show. But I think it needs to improve for the viewers to continue watching and not be bored. You know, I I think they should bring the plot, you know, the main plot, and give us a little shocker in the end. You know, like this happens, you know, develop a character, make Laurel interesting, maybe show that she's more Black Canary or something. Give us something, you know, Tommy, you know, talk with his dad a little bit more. That can be interesting. Thea, I know this drug story is coming up. Talk more about that. You know, the mother's not going to become interesting, so you could just skip on her. Dig, you know, I think in the next episode we're getting a Dig episode. You know, you should develop on that. Develop on these characters, make them interesting. Stop saying the same stuff over and over again. Just make something different. Give us a revelation, you know. In this episode, it was just the same stuff without boring villain, to tell you the truth. I didn't really care for him. I just thought the story wasn't that great. It didn't really shock me. It didn't put me on the edge of my seat. I just thought I was watching something, and that's it. You know, it didn't make me think. You know, I like seeing a show in the end of an episode. I like speculating about things. I wouldn't be a reviewer if I didn't like speculating, you know? And I like speculating. Like, oh, this could happen, you know, all these possibilities that could happen. And a story needs to have that start of speculations. It need to spark fan speculation, and I don't think fans really are talking that much about the show because there's nothing really to talk about. There's nothing that really has started. Yeah, the Dark Archer, fine, but he wasn't even a surprise. We need some surprises. We need some more story into that plot, not just these stupid villains. Alright, we get that one-shot story every once in a while. That's good. I like one-shot type of stories, but every episode's a one-shot story. We need an episode that actually drives the plot. And so far I haven't gotten an episode that, I think if you watch, this is an example. Watch episode 1, watch now. Have you really missed anything? No, because the plot hasn't really changed. Besides Dig knowing that Ollie is Arrow, nothing's changed. I think the best thing would have been like, oh, well, let's forget the book. I mean, I think that's something also that is holding back the show is the stupid book, the hit list. Forget about it, make him more a vigilante. I think the show will get more interesting once Roy Harper comes in, once the drug person comes in. I think it will get more interesting, but I just hope that the fans, the viewers, keep watching. I think Season 1 is very important for viewers to keep watching. You can have an awesome Season 2. I know a lot of shows that really have a slow Season 1, but Season 2 is, you know, hits the park, and I think Teen Wolf is an example of that. People didn't love Season 1, they thought it was a little slow, and then Season 2, a lot of people started watching because it was a great show, and I think Arrow needs to have a good Season 1, though, to keep their viewers, because they can have an awesome Season 2, but that doesn't mean those viewers are going to come back. It's like, oh, I remember that show, Season 1 sucked. I watched it, I didn't like it. So you need to do that. Show needs to improve. The writing does need to improve. This episode just felt very, very lackluster. And I wasn't really excited for it. But tell me in the comments below, did you enjoy it? Did you feel like it was very generic, nothing really happened? And what do you want to see happen? Me, this is stuff I want to see happen that I'll be super excited for. First of all, make Thea's character more interesting. Let her either find out she's, you know, who Oliver is. I feel like if we get another character who finds out, either Oliver or Laurel, I think that would be interesting. To tell you the truth, probably Thea more than Laurel, because Laurel could become Black Canary without her knowing who Oliver is. And I think that could be actually interesting. I think, even though it's just Season 1, you gotta bring something for us, you know? I know Black Canary's not gonna come right now, even if she is gonna come, but I'm sure, to tell you the truth, she will. But I think it's gonna be a couple seasons later. But that's something that will drive the plot, you know? That will bring something to the table. That will develop her character. I think the Black Canary thing, Thea becoming Speedy, I think Roy, you know, coming into the show is going to drive the plot a little bit more because Oliver will have to care for somebody, or, you know, who knows if Roy's even going to become Speedy, but I'm sure that will happen. I think Arrow family. I would like to see that. Not, of course, not in Season 1, but towards this show, I would like to see that. I think that's why Smallville was so good, is that it was that group. It wasn't just Clark. It was, and I think that's why in my opinion, Season 1 wasn't really that great. Smallville, I liked it, but it was all about like meteor freaks and that's it. But there wasn't really that driven plot that much, but actually Smallville had a better, I actually think Smallville did planning with their writing a lot better in Season 1 than than Arrow's doing. But, the Meteor Freak is like the same thing as this hit list thing for Arrow. I think they need to have like for like season 4 or season 5 of Smallville, they had more of a driven plot. I think Arrow just needs more of a plot. Also, one complaint before I do leave was the island flashbacks. I feel like they didn't really tell us much. I think that's something that they could use. I think that's something that's special about season 1 are these flashbacks, something that's interesting. Keep that, but keep us, like, there gotta be that one flashback. It's like, wow, that's interesting. You know, you need to give us on a commercial break saying, you know, that's interesting. Also, sorry to forget to mention this, but when, this is what really pissed me off. Alright, so Laurel's been trying to figure out all this, this whole Firefly thing, right? So Oliver has nothing to do with this. So when Oliver talks to this, the head firefighter person who didn't help the guy Firefly when he died, Oliver tells, like, oh, I know everything you did, but Oliver is not supposed to be looking into this. Arrow did. He looked into all this. Vigilante did. So Laurel doesn't even question, like, wait, Oliver, don't you know a little bit too much? Were you even looking into this? So that was just plot hole number probably 10,000 in this show. But that was a big plot hole. It's like, and Laurel, you don't think it's suspicious that this party person, you know, Oliver is saying this? Yeah, that was my last complaint. But tell me your thoughts in the comments below what you think about this episode. I thought it was very, hopefully episodes to come will be better. Hearing, again, future stuff with this season should be interesting with Roy. The drug thing should be interesting. This Comic Uno, I know I'm going a little over with this review, but I had a couple of things to mention. Yeah, so this is Comic Uno. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be doing a review for Arrow again next week for the new episode. Bye, guys.